How do you like it?
It's good.
Not too bad. I'm just gonna cut off the bottom. We get eaten by ants. But it's okay. Anyways. Hey everyone, this is K.Short, catching up with K.Short, and today we have Danny Barrera, and we met in Star 2012. He was my student when I was in RA, and I felt like we really connected. He likes to stay close to the older ones.
Yeah.
Which now that you tell me about it, I'm like, yeah, you did stay pretty close.
I feel like I can learn from older people. They're always more like insightful.
The reason why I wanted to catch up with Danny is because we have a lot of talk in the media right now with people transitioning, the trans community getting a lot of attention, which is awesome. Like, I think that's what needs to happen. But at the same time, like, for me, I never met anyone that was trans until I became a part of like the Brown Boy Project. And Danny and I haven't caught up since he left NAU. I'm here to ask questions from someone that is a friend, and again, coming from like a space of just curiosity and not knowing. And also just to be able to like bridge that gap between people who don't know and people who are like afraid to ask, and you know, someone who's comfortable with answering, you know, with someone who's going through it. So the first question is, when did you learn that you could possibly be trans?
I never really knew what trans was growing up. The only thing I really did know was that I felt uncomfortable with myself, and I wasn't really sure why. Everybody was telling me that I was one way. I kind of just wanted to ignore it. People were telling me that I was a girl. I didn't really feel that way.
When did you realize, I'm not just, you know, gay, I'm not just lesbian, I'm not bisexual, but I just don't feel right with the body I'm in? And is that the case? Is it a body thing? It's like, I don't feel right in this body?
Yeah, it's definitely like that for me. It's not like that for everybody, but for me it's definitely like I don't feel right with how I am. I thought it was just like an insecurity thing, like, you know, everybody's insecure about something about themselves. With me, it's just like, I don't know, it's like a whole nother level that I can't really explain, and it's just like a feeling of like wrongness and being like ashamed. Somehow I came across being trans on YouTube, and I was listening to people's stories and how they felt, and I just like, I felt the same way, and I was like, this is possible. Like, I know I want to be a boy, but I didn't think that I actually could.
When did you realize, you know, I'm going to go through with this process now that I know that it's possible? Was there a moment in time where you're sitting in your room or you're eating dinner, you're like, I'm going to go through with this because this is what is best for me? I
thought about it for a long time. I thought about it for like 3 years or so, kind of teetering between like telling people and like hiding it just based off of their reactions. And then I started really thinking about it. I started being really bothered by the way that I was being perceived and what I was being called and how I looked. And it became really overwhelming. And at that time I was dating somebody, so I was really afraid of what they would think of me. There was a night that we were being intimate with each other, and at that point I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt like I was missing something. I felt like I wasn't enough, and that I just really needed to let them know that I wasn't right with myself and that I needed to do something about it. At the time I was only working part-time, and we were kind of poor, and I don't know, just something told me that no matter what, I'm going to do this because I have to.
What were your first steps of doing?
I think it's important to remember that everybody's situation is different. For me, I didn't really talk to my family at that point in my life. I was kind of just doing my own thing, and as like a new adult, so I just decided to take charge of my life, no matter what they would say. The first step is learning about it, kind of coming to terms with it. Sometimes you don't accept it right away. Sometimes you're like, the thing that I'm dealing with, and this is what I can do to feel better about it. I can't really say that I've fully accepted how I am. Like, some days are better than others, you know? And then deciding if you want to medically transition, and you have to find the resources for that. But even before that, kind of telling people, coming out, explaining what it is that they don't know, telling them what you expect, names and pronouns wise, and seek medical resources if you want. I didn't come out to all my parents, all my family at the same time.
Okay.
Base it off of who you feel comfortable with. You know, I told my mom because she found out just by finding a binder of mine, so I had to tell her. My dad, however, although I told him when I was 16, and he called me crazy, so I just like left the idea alone. But when I was 19, when I was like, I'm really gonna do this, I didn't tell him at first. I just decided to go on hormones, and like 3 months later I decided to tell him.